Dolphins just do it with Miami Dolphins.
The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown.
Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown!
Looking deep, he's got a man. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown. He's in. Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
1, 2, 3, hit! Let's go!
Listen, I'm sad we lost yesterday. It sucks. And we'll talk about that in a second. But before we do, all the Tua haters, woo! You must be hating life today, huh? Wow, it must be, whoo! Your boy lost Saturday night. Hey, we're feeling the pain with you. Our team lost yesterday, and you got the early indications that they were sticking with Tua, and people, well, he said expected. Oh, now y'all want to read between the lines. Expected. And then what happens? Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel come out today, and they confirm that Tua Tagovailoa will be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins for the 2023 season. Further indicating all you jabronis who don't know how to watch film, who don't know ball, who wouldn't know a good quarterback if he hit you between the eyes with a spiral. What are you going to do for the next 6 months? Y'all going to spend your 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day on your pointless little rants and your pointless little threads on Facebook and Twitter and your pointless little panels bickering back and forth about changes that are never going to happen and changes that are never going to be this offseason? Not on Finside the NFL. You know why? Because we told everyone what was happening. That production was too good to overlook. And we're going to go over. I sat there and I chopped out the 24-minute presser between Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel. I chopped it down into about 23 minutes. Sorry, into about 13 minutes. So all the highlights, we'll talk about Boyer. Listen, if you were a Patreon, what was the deal? I gave you 2 tidbits, right? One tidbit that I myself was weary of, and the other tidbit, which ended up coming to fruition, the second tidbit being I was told there was no chance Tua Tagovailoa was going to be playing in KC, yet there was a little bit of optimism inside the Dolphins building. I was told there's no chance. And what happened yesterday? We all got basically told, hey, no chance if they win. And now the second part of that Patreon update is starting to come to fruition. As I told all of you, I warned of sweeping changes in that same Patreon update. I also gave Lamar Jackson update and a couple other little tidbits that I've been hearing throughout the grapevines. But I digress. I warned of sweeping changes inside that Patreon update. And we will talk about the report that caused Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier to get asked about it. That came out today, multiple days after my report. We will talk about that and their answer. Because I'm telling you, sweeping changes are abroad, my friends. It's coming, it's coming. And listen, I will defend Josh Boyer over the last 3 weeks of football. The wild card. Right? I'll even give him defense for the Green Bay game. I got his back in the Green Bay. The last 4 weeks, I will defend Josh Boyer. But, my friends, if you include the bye week, and the wild card. There were 19 weeks of football this year. Just saying. So, we're going to talk about all that. We got a lot to get into. We'll do the snap counts, but we're going to push the snap counts. We're going to push the PFF grades. We're going to push the next-gen stats to the back part of the show. And we're going to start off with the Tua stuff. We're going to start off with the coaching staff stuff. Because there's a lot to go over. There's a ton to go over here. And I got the pitties on. You know why? Because I said F it. Why not? And we got a lot coming to you this week. Tomorrow, me and Martin will be breaking down, the Dolphins offense from yesterday. And then I'll have Richmond Webb ball game on Wednesday. We'll get Richmond, his reaction to the loss, his thoughts, everything like that. The finish line on Wednesday. Be on the lookout for that. And then Friday, the content begins, and it is January. We are weeks away from starting to get into draft content. So I've already started. Hey, I did my first couple mock drafts, my first postseason mock drafts today. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline to all y'all. It's coming. So, man, I'm just telling you, it must have been a painful day for these people. And I'm just saying, you know why I'm wearing these shades? I'm telling you why wearing these shades. First of all, to hide the tears of the loss of yesterday that we're all feeling. Number two, even with the tears streaming down our faces, the future's so bright, we gotta wear shades, baby. Listen, I waited since 2016 to see the playoffs. Since my boy Dan retired, there ain't been much to talk about playoff-wise for the Miami Dolphins. And we got to the playoffs. We lost by 3 points. All with availability being a serious issue with our starting quarterback this year. Listen, Tua stays healthy, or if Tua doesn't, and the contingency plan they bring in here is going to be of the quality I think it's going to be, then it's only upwards and onwards from here. I'm telling you right now. And see, I'm going to tell you why I like running it back with Tua. I'm going to tell you this. You do not give him the fifth-year option. Even though you make the argument for it, you do not give him the fifth-year option. You do not sign him to an extension. Play it out, right? And if availability is, again, a serious issue that holds this team back next year, that costs this team in the long run next year. Listen, that draft class, you got my boy Drake May out of UNC. You got Caleb Williams. There's rumbling CJ Stroud might stay, because he hasn't declared yet, and he might come out next year. Another year of him developing and getting better. That QB class coming out next year has got some studs in it. So, hey, push it back. I'm down. And you know what? You cannot look past the production we saw over the first 12 weeks from Tua Tagovailoa. The man was in the MVP conversation with Patrick Mahomes. What do you think? What do you think? You just trade this away? See, I see people out here. Oh, Tua sucks. Oh, we even when he's out there, he's not that good. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Are you people ridiculous with me right now? Are you people for real? Like, are you delusional? Or are we talking like Forrest Gump levels of idiocy here? Help me out. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, do you not understand the level of production we were getting? Do you not understand the offense and the production we were getting from the offense was damn near historic? And that was in year one? When everyone's getting, not just the quarterback, everyone on offense is getting acclimated to it. Everyone to a brand new offense. Just for comparison. All right? You know what? Let's actually do it. You know what? Let's do I was going to tell y'all just the numbers when they walked into the Packers game. But let's do the numbers when they walked into the Patriots game. So we'll take even Tua's bad game, right? We'll take even Tua's bad game. Why not? All right. Walking in to the Patriots game in Week 17, the Miami Dolphins had the number 5 total offense in the NFL. They had the number 2 passing offense, and Tua had already missed games. But what y'all want better? What, you want number 1? Number 2's not good enough. Number 2's not good enough for these jabronis. They want number 1. When last year we were in 20s? Late teens? Literally, we're like 18 to 22. We're in that range. Now we're number 2. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You ain't getting number 1 because right now that's Josh Allen. I'm pretty sure it was Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So we ain't trading for Josh Allen. Okay? We were the number 9 scoring offense. But we were the 27th rushing offense. And what did I keep telling all of y'all? We do not have the personnel that this man trusts to continue to execute it. And what happened yesterday? What happened? You saw it. Weeks ago, we got the run game going against Buffalo. Yesterday, they shut us down. Because what I've been warning y'all about all season, in the playoffs, you got to be able to run the football. And we just could not win the trench battles yesterday because of the jabronis we had out there. Other than Armstead and Connor Williams, Robert Hunt was out of position. We've seen Robert Jones struggle as his sample size has gotten bigger. Right? We got Lester Cottontail. Sorry, Lester Cotton. But I call him Lester Cottontail. The guy sounds like a freaking rabbit. We got Lester Cottontail out there. Who? Backup from the Raiders. We signed on December, 20th? And we still only allowed 7 sacks. And that's because Tua's pocket presence. Sorry, we were 11th in sacks allowed. Tua's pocket presence, unbelievable. We're still getting some goodness in the pass sets. Now, third down offense struggled, and that came down to coaching. Our third down offense was 22nd, but I put that more on coaching than personnel. Right, when we ran the ball, we were very successful this year when we ran the ball on third down, third and short. When we ran the ball on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, we were very, very successful this year. When we threw the ball on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, we were not nearly as successful. Not nearly. It wasn't even close. And you can even look up the analytics. I've seen the stats. It's not even close. I don't have them in front of me, but I've seen them. So, you're telling me having the number 2 passing offense isn't good enough. This man was in the conversation. You cannot overlook this. Anyone thinking they were going to move off of this and just discard this is a lunacy. This is what y'all have been begging for. All y'all idiots that claimed Josh Rosen was the guy. All y'all idiots that told me Bridgewater was going to take the job. All y'all idiots that told us Brissett was going to take the job. You told us they were going to take the job because they were going to give us the best production possible. When we have the number 2 passing offense, when was the last time? Think, whether you've been a fan since Marino was here, whether you've been a fan since Greasy was here, whether you've been a fan since Jay Fiedler was here, whether you've been a fan since Hal Pennington was here. Don't matter what the timeline started. When was the last time we had the number 2 passing offense? I'll wait. Let me know. Should I play the Jeopardy song? You let me know. You let me know the last time we had the number 2 passing offense. Let me know. Let me know. Do 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 do. You can't even, bro. When? 1995 says Christopher Henry. 1985 says Phil. We got numbers everywhere. Just saying. I'm just saying, when? And now y'all have the audacity to say y'all want better? It's bad enough. I already got to sit back and see the fact that y'all don't know ball, and we got to go through these painful film breakdowns with these people that don't know ball, and we got to go through all this. But on top of this, now we got to listen to the lunacy of they want better than something they never had before since Marino was here. And that's why I still tell y'all, I believe a lot of y'all weren't watching when Marino was around with somehow the way somehow y'all act. And y'all go goo goo gaga over these big arm quarterbacks, not realizing we had it and couldn't win Jack Bo Diddley. Because whether you're a 70s baby or an 80s baby, you lived through that pain if you watched it, even through the 90s. Chargers, Bills, twice Bills. 90 championship, 90 divisional, 92 championship, AFC championship, Chargers, Stoyanovich couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. You lived through the pain with having the big arm quarterback and not getting it done. What have I been telling all y'all? What have I been telling y'all for years? Keep your big arm quarterback. Give me elite efficiency, elite accuracy, and a high football IQ. Tua was dropping that on y'all domes, and what was happening? He was in the MVP conversation. Literally, what I was saying I wanted was followed to the T, and when that happened, he was in the MVP conversation. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. But sure, I'm going to listen to you jabronis who don't know ball from the backside of your ass. I'm going to listen to you and take your opinions that we should move off this kid. Listen, you give him one more year. If the availability and durability is still detrimental to this team, then, hey, you know, it's a business at the end of the day. I get that. But you cannot look over this production in 1 year. And we're not dealing with ankles. We're not dealing with ACLs. We're not dealing with MCLs. We're not dealing with knees. We're not dealing with the hip. In fact, he cleaned all those limb injuries up. We didn't really deal with that this year. It was the head stuff. And like I've said before, the head stuff is a total new ball game. It don't matter if you have an extensive list of injuries in the past. It don't matter if you've never had an injury in the past. It don't matter. Head injuries are a different ball game, and they affect everyone differently. Your rant with the shades is epic, bro. I appreciate you, Chocolate Mellow Straw. I'm just saying, man. Like, who do these people think they are? Beggars can't be choosers. Y'all begged for this type of production for decades. Literally decades. Literally, like, not 1 or 2 years. Decades. And then this type of production, we won 9 games this year. 8 of those games were because of that production, and that was what mainly got us into the playoffs at the end of the day. That production, too, was a major contributing factor to why we were even a playoff team. But yeah, let's move off of it. Absolutely brilliant, you freaking Einsteins. Holy. You give jabronis a bad name. It's unbelievable. The lunacy and idiocy is next level. And then the same morons want to come out and defend Skylar and try to make him look like he was a major contributing factor yesterday and the game before. Newsflash, he wasn't. We asked Skylar to do 2 things yesterday. 2 things, and he didn't do one of them. Don't turn over the ball, and don't be a contributing factor to your team losing. He failed on both. The interception that led to points, both interceptions he had led to 10-point swing. They scored a field goal and 7 off them. You take those 10 off the board, we win. We asked him to do 2 things. Don't turn the ball over and don't contribute to the loss. And he failed on both accounts. You know why? Because he's not ready. But y'all tried to oversell him like he's the second coming of Christ. Because again, y'all don't know ball. Y'all don't know quarterbacks. Y'all don't know the position. He ain't ready. Yes, he's got the foundation. Yes, he's got the tools, but he's not ready. What did I tell you in the offseason? This year is not about Skylar becoming QB1. This year is about next offseason, him developing so he can battle for the QB2 spot. And that's exactly the trajectory he's on. And I've been saying that since preseason when y'all idiots were trying to sell him as QB1. Reason's right again. Ooh, what a surprise. That's why I bat goddamn near 1,000, and all of y'all be batting under 100%, under 100. Real talk. Ridiculous. You guys are lucky if you get 1/10 of the things you say right. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've never seen it. I've never seen this before. Unreal, man. Unreal. And tell me where I was wrong. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. You already know what time it is, baby. Let's get into it because we got a lot to go over. We got a lot to go over. We're going to go over what Grier and McDaniel said. Again, I've chopped that 24-minute video down to about 13 minutes. So we talk about Wilkins, Tua, Boyer, everything like that. On top of that, Gesicki was asked about his future. We're going to play that video for you. We got that report from Jordan Schultz that I'll show you. And we'll probably actually start off with that because this is something that I talked about on my Patreon and community tab for all YouTube channel members who have access. If you're a YouTube channel member, just go into the community tab. You'll see my post from a couple days ago. It's only for channel members. And then if you're a Patreon, if you go over to the Patreon, it's my most recent post. And the reason why I want to get into this is I want to show y'all. Listen, Barry Horowitz told y'all this was coming. And it seems it's coming real soon. And the reason why I'm going to show this is because before we get in the presser, they get asked about this. Right? They don't get asked specifically about this, but they get asked about this topic because of this tweet. So Jordan Schultz said earlier today, the Dolphins are expected to look at making some staff changes specifically on the defensive side where Mike McDaniel inherited most of the staff from Brian Flores. Remember, what have I told you guys? Right? You know, I told all people tried to make it look like McDaniel was picking these people, and I said nope, he did not have a choice. And now you're seeing the verbiage being used here, inherited. So Mike McDaniel, I said, you know, I've been saying, and you go look on the Patreon and my Patreon post, patreon.com/inside the NFL. You can go see that, and you know, I told all y'all. Here it comes. And, I mean, the writing was kind of starting on the wall, if you think about it, with Patrick Surtain taking the position at Florida State. Now, I get he's going to be secondary coach, and that's a promotion. But, you know, if he could have moved up the NFL ladder somewhere, I'm sure. But it looks like he got out of Dodge right quick. Now, I don't know if Patrick Surtain's going to be fired or moved on from, but I will say this. Josh Boyer and Danny Crossman are going to be I'm fully expecting them to be relieved of their duties. And with that, you got to think, right? If Boyer gets relieved of his even if Boyer alone gets relieved of his duties, but Danny Crossman will too, I believe. McDaniel's going to bring in those guys. That new coordinator is going to bring in his own guys, right? So it's going to be sweeping changes across the defensive board. Maybe Sam Madison because he came in after McDaniel, and maybe that'll be one thing. Hey, I want to keep him with the secondaries. I brought Sam Madison in with Pat, and Pat's gone to Florida State, and I want Sam to stick around. Maybe McDaniel goes to bat for him. But Boyer, you know, you look at that report, and then we'll get into the presser here, and you'll see exactly what was said. And it's not, yeah, Boyer's gone. Listen, unless... Do you really think they're going to change the whole defensive staff except Boyer? You know, that does not bode well for Josh Boyer right now. Like, when you look at this verbiage, where Mike McDaniel inherited most of the staff from Brian Flores, you know, Boyer, Crossman, basically everyone here who was he hired when Brian Flores was on the regime is gone. And so that's why I said maybe Sam Madison makes the cut because he came after Gerald Alexander and, you know, Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier probably had some say in that move. Maybe Sam Madison. I hope Sam Madison makes the cut. I really do. The rest of them can go kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. Now, listen. Boyer's probably going to go back to New England. Boyer's something like that. Or, hell, maybe if Flores gets this Arizona Cardinals job, he goes there. I don't know, but I don't think they're buddies anymore after, from what I understand. Danny Crossman and Josh Boyer basically last year, they basically started the revolt against, you know, against Brian Flores on the management side. So, you know, I don't see them going back, but he might go back to the Patriots. But I do think Josh Boyer is done here in Miami. I think, and we're going to get into the presser here, and you'll hear the exact verbiage used. I think it's just a matter of time here. I think it's coming. And Danny Crossman will be relieved, and we're going to see a whole turnover. Now, the interesting thing of this, if anyone hasn't seen today, guys, Jim Harbaugh has announced he is staying. I'm going to tell you this right now. Because I see the Fangio. And again, if you go to my Patreon, I told all y'all what needs to happen for Fangio, right? I told all y'all what needs to happen and what's happening. Exactly what I told y'all needs to happen. Harbaugh has announced he's staying at Michigan. So that means Fangio will not go with Harbaugh wherever he goes. That's one domino. The second major domino is this one. Sean Payton needs to go to Denver. If Sean Payton goes to Denver, we have a shot. Now, there is a caveat. I say a shot, and I don't say a lock because of this. You need Sean Payton to go to Denver because Fangio has a bad relationship. He will not go back to Denver. After being fired, he will not go back there as a coordinator. Not going to happen, okay? From a pride standpoint, it's not happening, okay? But if DeMeco Ryans gets a job, and he's already been requested by a few teams to interview, if DeMeco Ryans gets a job, Shanahan may try and slip Fangio in to replace DeMeco Ryans. Now, if that happens, you know, if the Bucs lose tonight, what happens with Todd Bowles? I don't think Staley's getting fired, so I don't think Staley's going to be available. And, you know, Jim Schwartz is out there. Lovie Smith is out there. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because I'm going to tell you this. Don't bring a young guy in, Mike. I don't want to see you promote someone from inside San Francisco, or I don't want to see you promote one of your young buddies. He needs to bring a guy who's seasoned, who's been around the block. The problem with McDaniel is the only guys he could lean on last year from an experience standpoint were guys he brought in, right? Embry, Bevel, which, guys, I don't know if you're seeing, but Bevel's being interviewed for all these different jobs too. The Jets are interviewing Darrell Bevel as their offensive coordinator. So I've told y'all all season we got Darrell Bevel as our passing game. He's way overqualified for where we had him, and I would promote him and make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. That's just what I would do. Sorry, Frank Smith, this is a business. I'm good. If you want to take a side move, and you want to be assistant offensive coordinator, and I can give you, and you can be the, you know, a quarterback coach, okay, cool. But that's what I would have done because, man, if we lose him to the Jets too, and they bring in their new guy, or they continue to develop Zach Wilson with Darrell Bevel, I don't like that. I'm going to tell you this much. I don't like that one bit. So, yeah, sweeping changes are coming, my friends. Sweeping changes are coming, and the key thing is, he needs to get an experienced defensive coordinator that he can lean on, preferably one that has head coaching experience. Preferably one with head coaching experience. That's where I'm at. All right, so let's get into this presser. Let's go over what they said today, all right?
Chris, good afternoon. Obviously unfortunate that Byron Jones didn't help you this year. There's not a lot of cap relief by cutting him until after June 1st. Does he intend to continue playing? And also, is there any desire to try to
I like John
salvage
Fox
that,
checking
perhaps
out.
with
That's a good
restructured
name.
deal, or do you think you'll basically, both parties will be moving on from each other at this point?
I was saying I always look forward to your questions to kick things off, Barry.
Start with the haymakers.
Here's your Byron Jones, guys. Here's Byron Jones.
No, like I said, Byron, worked hard, trying to get back. Unfortunately, didn't work out. He did his best. Training, doctors, everybody worked hard. The season just ended. We're not there yet. We're still, after the tough
Chris,
loss
I love
yesterday,
you, but I ain't
we're
buying
kinda,
it, kid.
Licking our wounds and just going about our process, and we'll meet with the coaching staff.
Byron
here,
chose the bag,
trainers,
brother.
doctors,
Tell
talk
him the
about every
truth.
player on the roster. So we're just not there right now to
Got to give kudos
deal
to
with
Chris
it. But
for
Byron did everything he could to
protecting
try and
Byron
play.
Jones.
So no qualms with that at all.
Chris, yesterday we were asked Mike about who was standing.
Shout out to Daniel.
He essentially said yes. We intend to welcome him back as a starter.
Here we go.
And leader of our team next season. With that being said, I was wondering if you could kind of elaborate on that. And in terms of the offseason, do you plan to exercise his 5th-year option?
Tell
In
him.
terms of the long-term deal, where are you with that?
Yeah, I would say with Tua, he's our starting quarterback. So I don't know how we could say it any more clearly. We've been that way through this season and what he's done, and what Mike and Tua, Bevel, Chandler, the coaching staff have all done. They've all worked tremendously hard all together.
Can't overlook that production. What did I tell all y'all?
We anticipate him, talking with the doctors and consultants and everyone we dealt with. We fully expect him back next year, 100% ready to go, and then we'll get through all those decisions. Like I said, just like we talked about every player on the roster. And obviously I understand because it's Tua, and that's why the question's being asked. But we'll go through our process, but he is our starting quarterback and will be next season.
He is our starting quarterback and will be next season. So all of y'all that are going to write your little Facebook posts and your Twitter threads and have your little panels talking about if we do this, if we do that, don't waste our time. I'm surprised y'all are going to waste your own, but, you guys have already shown that, life isn't something y'all really live much of. So what I'm going to say is this. Don't waste our time with the nonsense.
Response there. Is it just a process that the two has to go through so that he's ensured that he's healthy coming into at least OTAs as you guys move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's driven by the doctors. That those are the things that they're the experts in those fields. And when they tell us that he's ready to play, and as we expect, they tell us that he's ready to play coming in the spring or whatever, then we'll press forward in that.
It's because Mike McDaniel knows. They all saw this man was in the MVP conversation in the first 12 weeks with Mahomes. He was giving them elite efficiency, elite accuracy, elite IQ, which is what I tell y'all is the recipe, not this big arm bullshit. Giving them all that, and they saw the production, and they're like, year 2, this is going to be historic if this kid stays healthy. They've tailored this offense to him. The earliest they will move off Tua Tagovailoa is next offseason if he does not stay healthy. Because I'm going to tell you this much. Again, Pittsburgh Penguin fan, Sidney Crosby fan, missed almost 2 years of hockey with concussion issues. Got it fixed up with a chiropractor. Never had a concussion issue again and went on to win 2 Stanley Cups, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame first ballot, and he's one of the greatest hockey players of all time and the best post-lockout player of all time. You don't know. Tua could never have a concussion again. And I'm going to tell you this right now. He cleaned up the limb stuff. Once his head stuff gets cleaned up, I ain't talking about Thompson when I say the sky's the limit for this offense. We're talking about we could have one of the greatest. If they get this offensive line fixed, we could have one of the greatest offensive attacks y'all have ever seen. It could make the greatest show on turf look like child's play.
For either of you with concussions, again, I'm few credits short of my MD, but what I've read is that you have a couple you might be susceptible to getting more easily. Is that a concern with Tua, and what confidence do you have that this won't be a recurring issue for him?
Well, I think from what our doctors and the consultants we've talked to through the NFLPA, that is not a true statement. So for us, I don't think he's any more prone than anyone else. So for us, we're just going through and letting the doctors and the medical staff,
know how it works.
the people in the in that field, like you said, that know a lot more. But from everything we've been told, that is not a concern.
Yeah, specifically, these are the doctors that are working with him directly and individually,
the
as opposed
doctors.
to a generalization. You know.
We got all three concussions, or two concussions, he gets hit on the back. Is there anything he can do first?
Here's the helmet. They're asked about his helmet now.
Well, what's interesting is that his helmet is one of the higher rated helmets. It's like in the top 2 or 3, I think, in terms from the NFL rating. So it's I believe it was, 3 or 2, if I'm wrong. You can check it, but it's in the top for helmet safety. So I think with every player, that's a choice that they make because they all like the comfort, feel, and whatever. But I think those will be discussions that he'll have with all of us, equipment doctors and stuff. But it is a very safe helmet in terms of how the NFL has rated helmets.
Yeah, and with regard to our plan is kind of approach it like you do a young quarterback who's not used to sliding. You know, we have ideas and thoughts on how
Shout out to Knight. He said Chris Nowinski even stated that weeks ago.
Help him, because that is a consistency that we've noticed as well, is that they're ground induced. So we're, like everything else, do everything in our power to help coach him, and that's a new way to.
Listen, take it from a kid who grew up. Well, I'm now a man, but when I was a kid. And I grew up, the punk scene was huge around here. Skateboarding was huge around here. Now, wasn't my forte, right? But I had a bunch of friends. Falling is an art. Nick's already made a lot of improvements with him at Perform. Falling is an art. I saw people mocking, how are you going to teach a grown man to fall? People, literally, it's an art form. Falling and protecting your body is an art form. Ask any professional skateboarder. Ask any figure skater. It's an art form. Even hockey players got to brace themselves. Check it. There is an art form to falling and protecting yourself. But figure skaters, skateboarders especially, send this kid to a skate park for a couple of weeks and they'll teach him how to brace himself to fall. He'll learn real quick how to brace himself to fall. Telling y'all. That's why you go to skate park, you see all the kids, they wear a helmet, obviously, to protect your head, which he will be wearing. But you don't see them out there with the wrist guards like they're 6 years old. Right? Send them to a skate park, man. They'll teach them. They'll teach them how to brace. Real talk. I'm telling you right now. And then Upland Canada says, I went to Markham to learn how to fall from a sensei who came from France to teach us. Right there. They're in jiu-jitsu. So even in jiu-jitsu, it's an art. I don't know how people don't know this.
What are your thoughts on the job that Josh Boyer did as defensive coordinator this season?
Here we go.
I was very, very proud of the defense, the coaching staff, and the players on how on the specifically at the very end of the season. I think the last 3 regular season games, they in a place of adversity, they found their best self. I
appreciate the long-winded answer.
I couldn't be prouder of yesterday specifically. With you're talking about 7 sacks and turnovers and. Just really.
You know what McDaniel said? Where was this all year?
Very proud of.
That's what McDaniel said.
The way the defense finished the season.
That's what McDaniel said. Yo, where was this all year? That's what he was saying, bro. Now he's being asked about changes to the coaching staff because of that tweet.
It's pretty early. I mean, I think 24 hours ago,
It's
we might have had a
early.
lead, maybe. And, you know, one of the things that I've found from my experience in the National Football League is that it's very long, it's very emotional,
Bro, you can't.
and you're not always, you can
didn't
lend
wanna say
yourself
no, he
to
didn't wanna be a
living with
flat-out
regret
liar.
if you make any
Oh, you gotta
sort of
respect
decisions emotionally. So we're going to go through
This man don't wanna lie to y'all,
the
look.
process, and you got to kind of
Flores
let things
straight up lied to y'all.
simmer
He
for
said
the-
no,
just
and
really
Jake
the
Gillen's
entire
on the next
coaching
day.
staff, just like you do with players, and have communication. But it's gonna take a minute, and we're just out of I'm just getting my feeling back in my hands from the
that's
cold
it.
winter
That's it, Mike.
Buffalo sky.
Bro, I love this. Yo, you got to be a politician, Mike. Bro, I respect the fact you're genuine and don't want to lie to us. Because Flores would out here and lie straight. Flores would have been like, no, next question. And then Boyer's gone the next day like he did with Gailey. This man don't want to lie to us. He's giving us long-winded answers to make us feel better, to make us feel at home, to make us feel welcome. Bro, I appreciate it, eh? Bro, I love it, eh? Hey, you don't want to lie to us. But I get it. It's part of the job.
Early leanings on Mike Gesicki after watching one season of the marriage between him and this offense.
No, I think Mike did a good job this year. I think we had a great individual conversations with him probably a couple hours ago. So I told Mike I was proud of him. He did a nice job. Made some plays yesterday for us, got us back in the game. So he worked through it all this year. You know, we'll see what the future holds. You know, he's earned the right to be a free agent. But we're happy for him, and he did a nice job, and I know his teammates are happy for him, as you saw when he scored the touchdown. Yeah.
Okay. He's earned the right to be a free agent. We're happy for him. Just tell him, Chris. He's earned the right to be a free agent. We're happy to take any compensatory pick we can get for the guy. This is what I'll quickly flash to what Gesicki said when he was asked before we get back to the rest of that presser.
I love it in Miami, man. I've been there for 5 years and have made a ton of memories.
Sounds like a man leaving, huh?
We'll see, man. I had a lot of fun playing today. A lot of fun playing these last 5 years, and we'll see what happens moving forward. Just had a lot of fun, man. A lot of plays, a lot of memories, a lot of growing up, and it's just a lot. Like I said, it's just a lot of fun. And you guys see me when I get out there making plays, and if it is, we'll see. But I'm always going to remember my time in Miami if that is the case.
That was post-game yesterday. Gesicki knows what the deal is. Writing been on the wall for that, man. Writing been on the wall for that, man. And then you just saw what their answer was at the presser. Ooh.
It was
cold world.
Liam with Thrive at left guard and Austin at right tackle. Unfortunately, both got hurt. Liam and
Class act by Mike Gesicki.
Do you have any initial instinct as to whether you want to continue down
turtleneck.
that course with those positions, with those players, to allow them to win starting jobs next year, or if you need to address those
Talk
two
about Liam
positions
Eichenberg and Austin
elsewhere this
Jackson.
offseason?
No, I think every position will always keep, but they're two young players again. This would be the first offense they will be in 2 years in a row. And Liam showed some really good signs of playing well for stretches after adjusting into
Mike,
the system.
don't let him
and being
do
asked
this,
to do
Mike.
Stuff he had never been done
No,
before.
Mike.
We actually
No,
did before one
Mike.
of our games.
Look
We
at
got
Mike
hurt.
scratching
The
his
coach,
ear and his eye like,
GM
yeah,
of
bro,
another
wait
team
till I get
came
my
over and
guys
was
in
like,
here.
man, he was losing Eichenberg hurt because he said he's been playing really well for you. So, I mean, it's it's encouraging to hear that from other receiver work that Mike and Frank and Matt and those offensive staff put in with him, and his hard work as well. And then Austin was playing really good. He was the one we were talking about all preseason, and then he gets hurt week one on kind of a fluke.
And I should be patting myself on the back because I just told y'all Jackson would make it and Eichenberg would flop.
So, again, he's still young,
Jackson,
a lot of upside, needs to keep developing to continue. But they're both part of the plan, and we'll give them opportunities to grow.
Listen, if Mike McGlinchey hits free agency, you make the run for him. You want to go get a left guard, Dalton Reisner. You want to go get a center, Bradley Bozeman. Stop right now. You go get McGray from the right tackle from Atlanta, too, if he hits a free agency. Stop playing games with me and my quarterback.
How do you approach Tua's contract coming up with the fifth-year option and, if possible, an extension?
Just like I said, we'll have discussions and talk through it, just like we'll have discussions with Christian Wilkins, all these other guys who are coming up here.
Christian.
So
We like to discuss.
Are you open to a fifth-year option, taking a fifth-year option with Tua?
I think everything's on the table for us. So.
Okay, so we're going to get into Christian Wilkins here. What I would do, don't give Tua the fifth-year option. Don't extend Tua. Got to stay healthy this year. We want to see the production. We want to see you grow off that production we saw in the first 12 weeks and stay healthy. If you do that, we'll take care of you. And then I wouldn't sign him to a 5-year deal. I'd sign him to a 3-year or a 3+ team option, something like that, for like $35 million a year. We all saw Armstead didn't break $20 million a year when we all thought he would. Why? Because of injuries. And that was a proven Pro Bowler, proven All-Pro, proven top 3 at his position when he's healthy. Tua has shown he can give us top 3 production when he's healthy, but he's got to do that consistently. So I would give him a 3-year deal. I would give him like, 37.5 million per year, right? So if I do, if I do 35, that's 105 million, right? What do you do? Guarantee 80 of it, right? Something like that, 75, 80 of it. But I would do something like that, a 3-year deal. I wouldn't lock into 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I'd lock into 3 because, listen, here's how I always am. In all sports, I've noticed a trend in all sports. Guys can manage to stay healthy, or guys can manage to give you production you've never seen in contract years before. And then guys that get locked down long term, and then they kind of revert back to where they were. Not saying Tua's going to do that, but I've seen it happen. We just saw it happen with Emmanuel Ogbah. He stayed healthy for 2 years while he was increasing his production, and then his big question mark when he came over here was he couldn't stay healthy in KC, couldn't stay healthy in Cleveland, stayed healthy for 2 years, got paid, and then he got hurt right away. Right? We've seen it. X got his bag, stayed healthy. You know what I mean? We've seen it. So that's just where I'm at. 3 years, right? That's where I'm at.
Eligible for an extension.
Devontae
How big of a
Parker,
priority is
another
getting
example.
that done after the type of year that he's had?
Yeah, Christian's had back-to-back really good years for us.
You got to extend Christian
Everything
Wilkins,
he's done on and off the field.
You got to extend Christian.
Last week, was it Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
I'll never forget it.
He's in my office talking, and it's about 6:45, and all of a sudden he goes, "What is that?" And it's dark, and the lights are on the field, and we see someone working out. And who is it? And so he flashed the laser pointer on. He looks up, and it's Christian out there by himself at 6:45 in the dark doing drills to work. So that's just the type of person he is, and how much he loves this game and the leadership role that Mike and the players have empowered him in. And so for us, yeah, it'll be important to talk to him and work with him and keep him here because he's been a big part. He was one of the first guys here, and through this, and we talked about that after the Jets game. He and I, we hugged after he does his usual jump, trying to knock me over and hurt my ACL.
Classic.
But we talked about that. He'd been through a lot of stuff and how happy he was to get a chance to go to the playoffs. So,
Chris, from watching this defense, do you believe that upgrades are needed at inside linebacker particularly? And with you guys up against the cap, is there money for any real impact outside signing at any position?
Yeah, we always have flexibility.
They can clear up to about $65 million with trades and restructures.
What it is right now is not what it will be at the start of the season. So, for us, well, like I said, we're going to keep going through a process here of evaluating everything. So, I think guys, especially the defense, second half of the year played really well.
Learned to slide.
We were just talking about when Bradley came on. Our
we also got
analytics
put in a real bad position by Washington.
Study for us, and we moved into
they
the top 10,
generational
top 8 of 6 of our.
That man was Deshaun Watson before there was Deshaun
metrics
Watson.
we really value for defense, just his impact coming in. So, and that's running pass. I know everyone likes to look at everything, but he's in. And on the exit meetings today, some of the defensive guys were talking about how cool he was and what a good guy and work ethic, toughness, leadership. So. I think with all that, we look at it all. Landon Roberts did a nice job showing leadership. Baker, Duke, all those guys. Channing, we're excited for his future in terms of development, which we kind of expected that this year, that he would be more of a special teams guy. And so I think where we are, and Sam did a nice job on special teams. I don't want to leave anyone out, but we're going to, that position, because I know you're asking because there are a lot of free agents in that position, but we'll just keep doing our work and filling the holes like we always do.
Chris, considering all the injuries this team had, will you be placing greater emphasis on players' injury history in roster decisions going forward?
I think you can't be scared of stuff. I mean, talk about, Tehran was a Pro Bowl left tackle, the impact he did, with us in terms of leadership and what he did was on the field for us. Raheem, another guy people talked about being hurt, had a career year and everything he had done in terms of leadership and stuff again. And so, I mean, if you're scared to, like Bradley, again, Chubb was another one people said, but they're good players. They're the right type of people you bring into a building for a young team to help impact. And it's far-reaching than, they miss a game or two here, which you never hope they do. But injuries happen. It's football. I mean, I told you guys before, my dad drafted Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin never finished a game in his college career, and everyone said it was a mistake. And then the guy never missed a game in his career. So
I wouldn't want to be the GM that took Frank Gore off my board.
He's right. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. Brian asked, any other right tackles out there? Yeah, Caleb McGarry from Atlanta might be a free agent too. He's a pretty good one. But you see what happened there, Tua, he is confirmed as the starting quarterback. That production, they are not going to overlook it. The man was in the MVP race with Mahomes, even after a little bit of a slide against San Fran and LA, right? The Chargers, hey, he was, he still remains in the top of a lot of major statistical categories. Again, we have the number 2 passing offense under him heading into that Patriots game after the Packers game when he got the concussion. You're not, I'll wait. When was the last time we had the number 2 passing offense in the NFL? I'll wait. I'll give you even more time. I waited earlier. I gave you all time to Google it. Maybe someone brought it up. I'll wait again. Name it. But y'all want better. Y'all want number 1? Well, guess what? Y'all ain't getting Josh Allen. Y'all ain't getting Patrick Mahomes. Not happening. And he did that with no run game. Imagine what Tua's going to do with a run game when this line is fixed. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Mike McDaniel has bought the cachet he needs. He has a playoff berth under his belt with starting quarterback issues for durability, availability-wise. He's going to walk in there and say, listen, I played nice with Liam and Austin. That's great, but I want my guys in there too. And when those guys come in there, oh boy. I just don't see us sitting on our hands with Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg. Tua has given you elite level production this year when he was healthy. Because what people want to say before that concussion in the Green Bay game, you look at his performance in the Buffalo game and you look at the first 40 minutes before that concussion really started taking over him in that game. He was getting back to the guy he was in the first 12 weeks. He was trending back right before the playoffs, right before he was only going to have to face the Patriots and the Jets as warm-ups heading into the playoffs. He was trending back to the guy we saw earlier in the season. He was on his way back to it. He was trending. If you watch the Buffalo game, if you watch the first 3 quarters, hell, even a couple throws when the concussion was clearly settled in on him were big-time elite throws. He was trending back. Now, they're going to fix that on the line. They're going to get that run game right. And this offense could be historic in year 2. Everyone's going to be better in year 2. Everyone should take some sort of a leap in year 2 in this offense and being in for a second year. And some players it might be significant for. So it'll be very interesting to see who that ends up being. Now, Christian Wilkins, extend him. Don't even play around. Byron Jones, listen, I'm not buying them for a minute that he wanted to go. That man wanted the bag. We wanted to move off of him and get J.C. Jackson. That's why we had so much cap space heading into this season. We had almost $20 million in cap space. almost heading into the regular season with 16-20 million. They were going to make that run for J.C. Jackson and move Byron Jones's money. That's why he did not get Achilles surgery in January when we were knocked out, and he waited till March to get it. He was about his bag. I heard he wasn't 100%, but he could have gone week 1 this year. All he wanted was either restructure me and move my money up and guarantee me some money, or I ain't playing because I ain't putting bad film out there, or I ain't getting hurt. Because if you go look at Byron's contract, the thing that should glare to you on that should just pop out, should be so glaring, is he has no guaranteed money left. That's exactly why this guy did what he did. So kudos to Chris Grier. And then Josh Boyer. Listen, McDaniel was asked that question about Josh Boyer and then any changes coming to the defense because of that Jordan Schultz report earlier today. That changes are coming to the defensive staff. And I told y'all days ago on my Patreon that sweeping changes were coming. And I dropped names. And you can check it out at patreon.com/Finside the NFL if you don't believe me. And now that's coming to fruition. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. It is going to be a very interesting first couple weeks, man. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, with all of that said, let's go over a few things from yesterday and the game. We'll just quickly go over the snap counts, some next-gen stats, PFF grades, because they're out, and a couple interesting things from Barry Jackson today, but that's behind a paywall that, your boy hooks y'all up. You already know what time it is. So, let's get it right now. Pat's targeting Bill O'Brien. Good for them. All right, snap counts for yesterday. Connor Williams and the O-line. Look at Lester Cotton. Almost at 100 with Armstead there. Armstead did have to leave the game for a little bit. Just some interesting takeaways here when you look at the snap count. Ingold snaps drop. They've been dropping steadily since his injury on Christmas with that thumb injury. You look at Jeff Wilson and Salvin Ahmed, pretty neck and neck in terms of sharing snaps yesterday. So interesting stuff there when you look at how Ahmed getting his biggest workload of the year in absence of Raheem Mostert. And it didn't feel like it, It didn't feel like it. Didn't feel like it at all. So, and Smythe clearly ahead, well ahead of Gesicki as tight end 1 yesterday. Waddle even out snapping Tyreek Hill, even with his struggles yesterday. Kind of interesting there. Shout out to Griffin Gaming. He says, Mike made the playoffs as a rookie head coach, something that took Kyle 3 years to do. Yes, sir. And they both have clock management issues. Like mentor, like protege, huh? Like mentor, like protege. And then when you look at the defensive snap count for the Miami Dolphins, this is what it looks like. Bradley Chubb clearly not back at 100%. He only was out there for 38% of the defensive snaps. Chubb was out there but limited. So when we see Phillips cooking, it's not necessarily Chubb out there all the time right now. Very, very interesting that, Chubb must have been really seriously hurt. Now, Wilkins and Skylar finished the season, and they just went all out. They were out there for 95% of the snaps, Wilkins and Skylar, yesterday. Look at that. Crazy workload. Them Rowe and Jerome Baker, after Holland, Kohu, and Howard, get all the snaps. Look at it, right there with them. Great workload. Skylar and Wilkins. Look at Boyer. Finally realized, I got to get my best players out there for as long as possible. And look at the results we got yesterday. Great stuff. Great stuff. No, Chris. Great stuff. So, Wilkins, Zach Skylar, man, doing their damn thing. And I know that's what McDaniel's looking at. He's like, where was this yesterday? That's exactly what he's saying to himself. Where was this yesterday all year? Why didn't I see this all year? Now, when we get into the pass charts, look at how Allen distributed the football. Holy. He was just rip-roaring, 23 of 39, 352, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. No fear against our defense yesterday. No fear whatsoever. Allen was letting it fly. Got to respect it, man. He was just touchdowns on 2 on the short level and 1 on the deep level. So, Josh Allen just distributing that football all the way around the field. No fear, man. No fear behind that arm. And then you look at Skylar. Pushing it a little bit more than what we saw his passing chart last week. Heavy to his open side, though. Heavy reading to his open side. That tells you that a lot of this stuff was designed to that side. And that's just where he felt comfortable opening up his progressions. I mean, you saw we had that one play where the 2 running backs swung out left and right. And I believe it was Ahmed went to the left, wide open with all that space. He didn't even check to the left. He's just natural, checking to the right. 18 of 45, 221, touchdown, 2 interceptions. A lot of white dots. Not pretty, but it's to be expected. The kid's just not ready to be a starter yet. But I think he showed a lot of moxie. He showed a lot of will. And I think this kid, I think he's ready to like what I said in the offseason. This was all about getting him prepared to battle for quarterback 2, the backup spot next year. And I think he's ready to battle for that backup spot with no matter who you bring in. I like the development of Skylar I've seen this year. All right, PFF grades. Offensively, Durham Smythe, your top graded offensive player, 76.4. Tyreek Hill, 74.3. Alec Ingold at a 69. Taron Armstead at a 68.4. Connor Williams at a 67.5. And Cedric Wilson at a 67.1. Robert Jones, worst graded at a 44.7. Trent Sherfield, second worst at a 49.7. Skylar Thompson, the third worst graded Dolphin yesterday, managing a 51.2. Down from last week, he was in the 70s. River Craycraft, fourth worst at 53.6. Jeff Wilson, fifth worst at 54.2. And somehow Jalen Waddle manages with a 60. So, yeah. Let's keep it rolling here. Now, let's get into the blocking before we get into passing. You look at, as an offensive line, they allowed 15 pressures yesterday. Lester Cotton allowed 1 sack and 3 hurries. Robert Hunt allowed 1 hit and 2 hurries. Salvin Ahmed allowed a sack and a hurry. Robert Jones allowed a hit and a hurry. Durham Smythe allowed a sack. Taron Armstead allowed just a hurry, and Connor Williams allowed a hurry. So Connor Williams and Armstead did their thing. Robert Hunt and Lester Cotton struggled. It's given that Lester Cotton was probably going to struggle, obviously, right? That was pretty much a given. Now, when we look at Skylar, this is his passing chart. This is how it's set up when you look at it. I mean, we just showed you the PFF passing chart. Now we just showed you the next gen passing chart. Now we're showing you the PFF passing chart just so you guys can, get a feel for both here. You look at them, not good from the deep level. Not good by any stretch of the imagination. 1 for 7 beyond 20 yards. Now, from 10 to 20, better, but not by much. They've got him 5 for 11. So not good, but better. short right. He even struggled to the right, man. 2 for 9 to his open side. 4 for 6 over the middle and 1 to the left. Behind the line of scrimmage, he was perfect 5 for 5. So there you go. You see the struggles of Skylar Thompson. Oh, let's check it. Sorry, my bad. When we look at right here, when he was kept clean, he was 15 of 31. So he was kept clean on 31 dropbacks, and he had a 48.4 completion percentage. Now, the adjusted completion percentage, because there were 3 drops, would have jumped to 58.1, so he still wouldn't have hit 60. But his yards per attempt were 5.6, and his average depth of target was 12.6. So that's good. Now, under pressure, he was 3 of 14 under pressure yesterday for a 21.4 completion percentage. He had an NFL passer rating of 41.1 under pressure and 49.5 when he was kept clean. Not good. On no play action, so straight dropbacks, he was 4 of 12 for 1 pick. On play action, he was 14 of 33 for 1 touchdown and 1 pick. Now, his average depth of target is good. It's 13.6 and 11.5 for play action and on play action, but his yards per attempt, 4.3 and 5.1. Not good. So his yards per attempt needs to come up, and his average depth of target's okay. It's good. But look at again. Time to throw, 3.14 seconds. His time to throw increased from last week. Last week, his time to throw was 3.04 seconds. He fully increased his time to throw. And we still saw indecisiveness. We still saw the errors and the mistakes. And Tua's getting rid of the ball in about 2.5 seconds. Got to get rid of the ball quicker, man. Got to get rid of the ball quicker. Defensively, your top-graded defender, Jalen Phillips, 78.8. Javon Holland at 71.8 is number 2. Melvin Ingram, number 3 at a 69.1. Elijah Campbell, number 4 at a 66.3. And Xavier Howard, number 5 at a 64.4. I don't know how. Your bottom 5, Duke Riley, 39.9. Jerome Baker, 41.8. Landon Roberts, 42. Eric Rowe, 46.7. And Christian Wilkins, 47.1. Now, in coverage. And I'll switch over to Buffalo just so, because we had people yesterday doubting, right? Here you go. Jalen Waddle, Tre'Davious White, right here. He was targeted once, pass breakup. There you go. Jalen Waddle, it was a pass breakup, not a drop. So all of you trying to argue that deep throw that Skylar underthrew was a drop, no, it was a pass breakup. And it's even been credited. It was credited by ESPN as a pass breakup, and now it's been credited by PFF as a pass breakup. End of discussion. All right, Kader Kohou in coverage yesterday. Targeted 8 times, allowed 4 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown to Cole Beasley. Also allowed 3 first downs. He had a drop, and he had 2 pass breakups. Xavier Howard was targeted 7 times, allowed 4 receptions for 84 yards, 3 first downs. He had an interception and a pass breakup. Jerome Baker targeted 6 times, allowed 5 receptions for 47 yards, 3 first downs, and a touchdown. Eric Rowe targeted 6 times, allowed 5 receptions for 90 yards, 4 first downs, and a touchdown. Keon Crossan targeted 5 times, allowed 2 receptions for 25 yards and a first down. Duke Riley targeted twice, allowed 1 reception and a first down. Javon Holland targeted once, allowed 1 reception for 19 yards and a first down. Landon Roberts targeted once, allowed 1 reception for 3 yards. So overall, X was getting burnt, but he didn't they didn't charge him with any touchdowns. So hey, none is good, but Kader Kohou struggled yesterday. Those are your PFF stats and grades for yesterday's tough wild card loss. All right, now let's get into the next gen stats from yesterday, and this is what they look like. Skylar Thompson, longest air completed distance for the Dolphins, 42.1. Josh Allen, 59.8. Tyreek Hill, fastest ball carrier in the game at 21.17 miles per hour. Nyheim Hines got up to about 20.56. Jerome Baker had the fastest sack of the game at 3.2 seconds. Ed Oliver at 3.5. Now, here's their passing chart. They're usually different. See, like they only had one completion on the deep level to Skylar on Next Gen, while PFF had multiple. Now, he's still as bad on the intermediate level on here as he was on PFF. And he's still as bad to the right side on the short level here on PFF, on here as he was on PFF too. So the passing chart, really to his open side, you don't want him to be struggling that much, right? Like that's not good. You know, to your open side, you're right-handed, right? So to your open side, do the math. Like, do the math. This guy was 9 of 23 to his open side. Shout out to Ego, 300 Ego. He said, reason is the only reason to follow the real Dolphins news. You're the man, brother. Keep showing the lame, emotional wannabes how to do a real season of football. Love it, man. You already know what time it is, baby. Ain't no one do it like inside the NFL. So, that's kind of crazy to me, man. Anyways, rushing-wise, Jeff Wilson, 10 carries, 23 yards, and a touchdown. James Cook, 12 carries and 39 yards and a touchdown. Jeff Wilson finding most of his success to the right side, the gaps, and off the right edge. Salvin Ahmed, not much going, 5 carries for 3 yards. Devin Singletary had it going against us, averaging 4.8 per carry, killing us off that left side. James Cook killing us off that left side too. Now, league average of average receiver separation per route ran is 2.93 yards. Durham Smythe averaged 6.51. Other than that, and Gesicki averaging 2.97, Waddle, Hill, and Sherfield were under it. Look at Hill, averaged 0 yards of separation yesterday. Now, for them, when the league average is 2.93, they had Knox over it. They had Diggs over it. They had Davis over it. Shakir was under it and Beasley were under it. But they had big names over it. And they feasted. Painful. That is pure pain when you look at it. Is that? No way that's real. That's real? Hold on a sec. Let me see something here. Yeah, I don't know why they got Tyreek with 0 receptions and 0 yards. All right, Bradley Chubb, 4.07 average yards of separation. He's back to the top. Wilkins, number 2 at 4.15. League average is 4.53. Skylar under it as well, 4.44. And Jalen Phillips, 4.63, just over it. Carlos Basham, 3.86. Boogie, way under it. Ed Oliver, way under it at 3.96. AJ Epinesa was a ghost yesterday, way under it at 4.12. And Jones was under it at 4.56. Hey, you remember everyone... Do you remember how everyone really wanted Greg Russo? And I said, nah, Russo just isn't that dude. And, Jalen Phillips is that dude. You know what I mean? Jalen Phillips is the one you want. You don't want no Greg Russo. You know what? Where was Greg Russo yesterday, huh? That man did his best ghost impression. That man was nowhere to be seen yesterday. That man was nowhere to be seen. All right, from Barry Jackson, where the Dolphins stand with salary cap and one likely solution. A 6-pack of Dolphin notes on Monday. The Dolphins will begin this offseason with major salary cap challenges and limited draft inventory. According to Over the Cap, the Dolphins are $10.6 million over the cap for the 2023 salary cap, with just 37 players under contract. The website says the Dolphins would be $22.3 million over the cap if you include players on minimum deals to bring up to 51 players, and also include contracts for their 5 April 2023 picks. The 2023 cap is projected to be $225 million. The Dolphins likely will restructure several contracts to create more space. Receiver Tyreek Hill appears likely to be one of those restructures. He'll have $16 million base salary and $31.4 cap hit for 2023. If the Dolphins change his base salary to $1 million and give him the other $15 million as a signing bonus, that would lower his cap number to $20.1 million. That's because signing bonuses, unlike base salary, can be evenly distributed on a team's cap over the length of a contract. So under the specific restructure scenario, instead of Hill's $16 million counting entirely on the 2023 cap, his cap hit would be reduced by more than $11 million. But cap hits would be added in 2024, 2025, and 2026. The Dolphins originally had 2 first-round picks, but now have none. One was sent to Denver in the Bradley Chubb trade, and the other was forfeited as part of the league's punishment for tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. The Dolphins have their own second-round pick, 2 third-round picks, 1 6th, and their own 7th. Miami traded its 4th-round pick to Denver in the Chubb deal, traded its 5th rounder San Francisco to Jeff Wilson, traded its 6th to Kansas City in a Hill trade. More than half the Dolphins roster will be free agents. On offense, UFAs include Raheem Mostert, Wilson, and Gaskin, Mike Gesicki and Adam Shaheen, wide receivers Trent Sherfield and River Craycraft, Michael Dieter, Kendall Lamb, Greg Little, Eric Fisher, Brandon Shell, Teddy Bridgewater, and Mike Glennon. So a lot of fodder on offense is what they're trying to say. A couple of good names we got to bring back. I think they're going to bring back Raheem Mostert, Wilson, but the rest probably, and Sherfield, they might try to bring Craycraft back, but I don't think anyone else on that list is coming back unless Shell comes on the super, super cheap as a swing. On defense, UFA include Atlanta Roberts, Duke Riley, Andrew Van Ginkel, Melvin Ingram, and Sam McGuavin. They might rebuild that whole linebacker core. Rowe and Clayton Flagellum. Man. Nick Needham. I think Needham will be back on a cheap deal. And Justin Bethel, defensive lineman Justin Zimmer, John Jenkins, and Trey Flowers. I'd be down to bring Jenkins back on a small deal. Punter Thomas Morstead is also a free agent. Running back Salvin Ahmed and defensive back Elijah Campbell are restricted free agents. After Sunday games, Xavier Howard made clear that this season did not meet his expectations and that we will see a different player next season. Asked what it will require to get back to that level, he said, being put in a position to make plays as I've been doing. That's something you can't stop. I am going to make plays no matter what happens. If I get put in position to make plays, I'm going to do it. He later added, I get put in better positions, I can make plays. Putting myself in better positions will help me out this year. Asked if coaches didn't put him in better positions, Howard did not answer. The group interview then ended. Oh boy, there's just sweeping changes. So, asked if coaches didn't put him in better positions, Howard doesn't answer. Oh man. Asked if September groin injuries were an issue all season, he said, I played every week, so I don't know if a groin can heal every week when you're playing with it, but you've got to deal with injuries. Everybody's not 100%, and people keep fighting, so that's what it's all about. Howard, one of the league's best quarterbacks from 2017 to 2021, allowed a 121.1 pass rating in coverage area this season, second worst among players targeted at least 60 times. The numbers are stunning considering Howard's past greatness. 54 completions on 80 targets for 826 yards with 6 touchdowns and 1 pick. Only Minnesota's Chandon Sullivan has allowed more reception yards. After picking off 10 passes 2 years ago, he had 5 last season and just 1 this season. So that is the regression real? And the Jets plan to speak to Coach Darrell Bevell about their vacant offensive coordinator job. Hands off, Jets. Hands off. Don't you go touching them. All right? You leave them alone. All right, just some injury updates because we knew they would come out after the season was done. We'd get some information on what actually went down with injuries. So this is what went down. 3 young Dolphin defensive backs who sustained season-ending injuries said Monday that they expect to be ready for the start of the next season, but their timetables are fluid because of the serious nature of their injuries. Brandon Jones, who was lost for the season after he sustained an ACL injury to his left knee in Week 7 against Pittsburgh, said training camp, I should be playing full go by then. If not, should he be ready for the starting of next season? He said, hoping so, yes. He said he hopes to be at least running by OTAs in May, even though he likely won't be ready for full participation at that point. The whole process has been tough. Not being able to be out there with those guys, I enjoy playing with them. Being isolated with this injury has been super tough from a physical and mental standpoint. At the time of his injuries, Jones had 2 sacks and team-high 49 tackles and 334 snaps. His strip sack of Patriots quarterback Mac Jones in the opener was returned by Melvin Ingram for a touchdown. Jones, one of the NFL's best blitzing safeties, had 7 sacks during his past 2 seasons. Meanwhile, Nick Needham, who was lost for the season in Week 6 due to a torn Achilles, said the timeline for his return is looking like early training camp. That's what they're hoping for, or end of July. Got to keep strengthening it and rehabbing it and see where he's at. Needham, who will be an unrestricted free agent in March, said he and the organization have talked, and they said they would love to have me back here. I said I would love to be back here as well, so hoping everything works out, and I will be back here next year. Look forward to it. I know it's a business as well, and things may not turn out as you wanted, so we'll see. Needham might have secured a very good contract had he stayed healthy. He realizes the injury comes with financial consequences. I was thinking about that the past 3 months. I just came to accept that. Got to prove myself again. This year will be another prove a year. I'm ready for that. Just got to get it healed to 100%. I think I'll be ready to handle that and hopefully do what I did last year and not have to worry about any of that. Needham said this season has been one of the toughest years I've had in my life. Never had a season-ending injury. Watching the team on the couch was very hard for me. But I still enjoy watching my guys go out there and compete every game. I was wishing I could be out there with them. It was definitely tough. Needham started 5 of 6 games. He appeared in this season and played 78% of Miami's defensive snaps through those 6 games. He played 60 and 54% of the Dolphins' defensive snaps during his previous seasons. A third young defensive back, Trill Williams, is recovering from a torn ACL, sustained in the final minutes of the Dolphins' preseason opener against Tampa Bay. Williams spent the season on injured reserve after playing 4 defensive snaps on 15 special team snaps in 2021. Dolphins see potential in Trill Williams, who went undrafted in 2021 partly because of an injury that sidelined him part of his final season at Syracuse. He signed Miami in May 2021, days after he failed a physical with New Orleans. Even though Williams would like to be ready for OTAs, most likely I'll probably sit out and wait until training camp. The season, he said, was real tough. This was the second time I've suffered this injury. The first time was in high school. It was tough being in high school and watching teammates play without me. That's not good. I didn't know he had this injury once before. That's not very encouraging. That's not good. At this level, it was super hard watching them play without me. See, that's injury prone. That worries me about injury prone. When you've had the same injury multiple times in the same spot. You know, even watching them play against the Bills, I almost cried watching them play. Life goes on. Only thing I do is come back strong for next camp. Both Jones and Williams are under contract for next season. Emmanuel Ogbah, who was lost for the season when he sustained a torn triceps November 13th against Cleveland, said he hoped to return the season if the team extended its playoff run. I was pushing to play if we made that big run. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Now I've got to take time to rest up. I should be good to go by March, April. Should be good by OTAs. He signed a 4-year, $65 million contract with the Dolphins in March. Had only 11 tackles and a sack in 9 games and 3 starts, after producing 9 sacks in both 2020 and 2021 and leading the league in batted passes those 2 seasons. The Dolphins would gain no cap relief by cutting Ogbah, but would gain relief by trading him. But they might decide to keep him, perhaps with a restructured deal, with the hope that he recaptured his form in the previous 2 seasons. I know my team depended on me to be out there. Unfortunately, I got hurt. It's extra motivation to go out there and show why they paid me and do what I do. What is the potential of a pass rush with Ogbah, Jalen Phillips, and Bradley Chubb? Endless, he said. We didn't get a chance to taste it for a full season, but we should be good next year. Eichenberg expressed immense frustration with the hand injury that sidelined him for Sunday's playoff game. His hand was in a cast and arm in a sling on Monday. Eichenberg missed 7 games with a knee injury sustained October 30th against Detroit, returned to play every offensive snap January 1st against New England, then plays most against the Jets in the regular season finale. Then the injury happened in the Jets game, and then Monday night I knew something was wrong, and Tuesday I had surgery. He said he doesn't believe he's permitted to discuss the precise injury or how it happened, but said if he had played against Buffalo, I would have been useless out there. It sucks. Well, that's not much different than what you've been all year, Liam. He said he's extremely frustrated. I'm going to keep working, getting my hand healthy. That's the biggest thing. I'll be ready for OTAs. Hopefully in the next month it'll be okay. That's the plan. He's under contract for 2 more seasons. Among other injured Dolphins who spoke, Adam Shaheen confirmed a torn ACL kept him out for the season. A knee injury rescinded his trade to Houston in August. We tried to trade this guy with a torn ACL. Yeah, like we didn't know. Unbelievable. He'll be a free agent in March. Brandon Shell, who started 11 games at tackle, missed a playoff game with a sprained knee and ankle. It's tough because he put the work in to get to that place, and not be able to play was tough. I'm proud the guys fought. How Robert Hunt stepped in, how Robert Jones stepped in, how Lester Cotton stepped in. Shell will be a free agent in March. Said, I hope to be back, but you know how that goes. Is starting important to him. I'm willing to help wherever team I go. if it's here, if it's another team willing to step in and play my role. Monday was the only day that players on injured reserve were permitted to speak this season. Byron Jones, who spent the season on the physically unable to perform list, was not in the locker room during that media access period. No was quarterback Tagovailoa, who remains in concussion protocol. Okay, see, players are who in concussion, they don't go in front of the cameras and the media and the lights. They just don't do that. Byron, this guy's been duck, dodge, and weaving like this is a game of dodgeball all year. You know, I find it funny he wanted to call out X subliminally last year when X was holding up for the money. Well, I wouldn't be worried about the money, you know. I'd be coming here and leading. Where are you being the leader right now, Byron? Hey? Funny how when you got no guaranteed money left on your contract, all of a sudden you're no longer a leader. You're no longer to be found. You're all about yourself. Man, get that energy. Get that jabroni out of here. Real talk, man. Get him out of here. Guys, we are just over an hour away from some Monday night playoff football. I wanted to get this done so you guys were informed before the game kicks off. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. I hope you continue to support throughout the offseason. We got a lot of content coming for you. Man, the offseason is our season on Finside the NFL. We're going to be cooking up. We're going to be getting into the draft stuff is coming, the free agency stuff. You know how we do it. Every year we do it, and we're going to be doing it the same. The big boards are going to be coming your way, the free agency lists. No one is going to keep you as in-depth and as informed as Finside the NFL. And we're also going to have the finish line every week now this offseason. And we're thinking about me and Neil every Thursday night. Maybe we'll do Fin Too Deep every Thursday night and add another show on here on Thursday night. So we're going to be bringing you all that content. I'm going to be doing the postseason roundtable. All the cast of characters who have been on the midseason and the preseason roundtables will be back to look over our predictions. So we got a lot of content coming for all of y'all. The season is, the off season is just beginning. We got free agency. We got everything, man. So obviously OTA's training camp, and we're going to take that coverage up a notch this off season as well. So listen, I enjoy, man, it was a fun season. It sucks that this is the last recap show of the year, but we ain't done. We're going to be sticking out through this offseason side by side, me and all you. Let's get through this and let's have an amazing offseason. It's officially begun. Tomorrow night we will review the All-22 and look how the offense performed against the Buffalo Bills. Wednesday meatball game in Richmond will be back. And then Friday the new content starts, and I'll be letting y'all know this week what we'll be doing on Friday, okay? So let's get it, baby. Fins up all day, every day. Enjoy the playoff football tonight. And I will see all of y'all tomorrow night. Fins up, everyone.